The 49ers leave this Monday night at Levi's Stadium 8-4. But what an interesting win over the Carolina Panthers. The best team win for the 49ers since losing the big guns, Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, because it was the best defensive performance since losing the big guns. I mean, if you're talking about postseason push, playoff readiness, you got to play complementary football. And today, the defense had to overcome a bizarre stretch from Brock Purdy, where he threw 3 interceptions in 3 possessions. But, I mean, it was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde today for Brock Purdy. 22 of 24 on throws traveling less than 10 yards. So the 49ers were able to just be patient, to strangle the Carolina Panthers in this game. But when there was impatience, when there was a concerted push to get the ball further downfield, Purdy and the 49ers got themselves into trouble. George Kittle had the best quote on Purdy's interceptions.
He threw an interception tonight? I never said anything after the first one. Second one, I just said, dude, just take a deep breath, man. You know, you've been here. You're good. Just breathe, let it out, move on to the next play. That's it. He's a professional. He knows what he's doing.
No words for him after the third interception, too?
No, I think Kyle had some. He's fine. I'm not too worried about Brock. I will say one of those interceptions he threw, I think it was the third one. They did like alert coverage with the backside corner, which was pretty impressive. That was a cool coverage. So I mean, like, I don't expect Brock to see that at all. I mean, your read's coming this way and the guy's coming from the left side of the field sprinting across. I think that's just a good play by him and a good call by that defense coordinator.
That was J.C. Horn, the star Carolina cornerback who made that great play on the third Purdy interception. He intercepted Purdy twice today. Horn was also in on the very first one. Kyle Shanahan said that he supported the decisions from Brock Purdy on all 3 of those throws. I got to watch the tape to formulate my final opinion on this, but I just thought in general this was not the time or the place to be more aggressive with the 49ers having such a clear advantage over the Panthers. I mean, they went 15-play drive to open this game. Patience was the way for San Francisco. Then they reverted to patience in those shorter throws in the second half. A 13-play drive, a 10-play drive. Do you know how hard it is to not screw up once on drives that long? I mean, and the 49ers were doing it. But it was when they started pushing the envelope, I thought unnecessarily. I thought too soon. I thought that's when they got off track and they had to rely on this defense and Jair Brown to deliver a bailout of sorts. Jair Brown, all those interceptions at Penn State, you saw the instincts kick in for the 49ers. And Jair Brown today on an NFL field, his first career multi-interception game. We heard from Jair afterwards as well.
First one was, sudden change. It don't really matter to us. Go out there, play defense. And seeing Bryce, looking down the middle of the field, looked like he was finna scramble at first, but kind of stopped and felt like he seen something. Kind of read his eyes and just went to go jump it. Then the second one, same thing, just reading his eyes, man, and it was tight coverage by Bernardo Green. Jumped in front of that, made the play for the team.
Robert Saleh dialed up a really cool pressure. I think he probably did that with Chris Kasarik on that second interception, bringing Bryce Huff around to the inside. And the 49ers Russian coverage, and you'll hear in the interviews that I tack on to the end of this, I thought the Russian coverage was more cohesive together than at any point this season. Again, after Nick Bosa and Fred Warner both went down. Both of those guys up here in one of these suites watching the game today, and I'm sure very proud of the 49ers less heralded defenders for putting what they did on tape. If this is going to be a playoff team, if this is going to be a team that makes a push in the playoffs, Brock Purdy's been there and accomplished that. He's been a really good playoff quarterback for the 49ers, and he's been a great QB for San Francisco since 2022. I have no doubt that he's going to figure it out and protect the football and continue delivering efficient play for the 49ers. What San Francisco needs is as much balance as possible from the defensive side of the ball. And it's up to Robert Saleh and the defensive unit to continue building off of what they did today. A really good performance against the Panthers. Remember, Bryce Young had 448 passing yards last week against Atlanta. Not today against this Robert Saleh-led defense. Just listen to Jair Brown, who is a player who Saleh inherited. This is not a Saleh picked player. Brown was picked under Steve Wilkes. Didn't start immediately under Robert Saleh. Now has earned his way back into a starting role, is fitting into this defense, which has been so beaten up. And listen to what he says about his defensive coordinator.
Said this earlier, man. It's his passion for the game, bro. You know, to see him hanging out late nights, early mornings, watching endless tape. You know, trying to put us, holding on, being accountable to himself to put us in the best situation possible. And man, you just want to go out there and execute when you see a guy that passionate about defense, man. And tonight I was able to execute for that.
Now, I know everybody wants to talk about the Trayvon Merrick and Juwan Jennings altercation after the game. Jennings went up and shoved him in the face, but it was after, it was after something that should evoke a little bit of a grimace.
The guy took a cheap shot and hit him in the balls, and I was real proud of Juwan for not losing his mind out there and getting him to the sideline.
Juwan finished his post-game press conference today by saying, "Y'all have a good night. Don't get hit in the nuts." I think that the NFL saw the video of Juwan Jennings getting hit in the nuts, and I think the NFL, they're going to see it if they haven't seen it yet. I think that they should be lenient with Juwan Jennings on any potential discipline for the retaliation. I think it all makes sense given that context. Of course, we can't break down a 49ers game without talking about Christian McCaffrey, especially this one against his former team, the Carolina Panthers. And from the very first third down catch, where McCaffrey lunged across the first down marker to set up that 15-play drive, to the 17-yard run, where Jake Brendel, by the way, had an awesome block, the reach block on the second level, took out 57, the linebacker, to all the plays in between. McCaffrey now has 10 games this year with at least 100 yards from scrimmage. And today he combined running, receiving, over 100 yards from scrimmage. You know, we can tie this back into Brock Purdy and taking the profit, hogging the ball. A lot of times you say, okay, security blanket, check down guy. You know, they say it's almost a pejorative for some of these quarterbacks who take advantage of check down guys. The 49ers, this is a cheat code. Brock Purdy is throwing to somebody who's not just to anyone at the check down position. Christian McCaffrey is a walking Hall of Famer. He gives the 49ers the luxury of being able to take the profit and still turn that into at least an efficient play, but also an explosive one. That's what Christian McCaffrey delivers as far as a dynamic change for the 49ers offense that other teams simply don't have. And that was on display today. Christian had a really good quote about Brock Purdy and interceptions. Did Christian tell Brock something after one of those picks?
No, absolutely not. No, I mean, he's as poised as they, nobody needs to, he's a professional and a really good football player. Nobody needs to tell him anything. I think it's like if I make a mistake, I know I make a mistake. Or if I have a drop, I know, somebody says catch the ball, it's like, makes you want to knock them out. It's like, those aren't, there's not really nothing to say. You just keep on playing. It's a long game and anything can happen. So you don't say anything to him.
Kurt Warner had a really interesting tweet after this game. He said, "I've talked often about my interceptions, and I feel like Brock Purdy plays a lot like me. He's mostly really good and makes a lot of big-time throws. But it seems like every miss, which is usually is a couple a game, which is actually very good, is an interception, and the defense rarely seems to drop any of his bad balls, unlike a lot of other guys." Kurt Warner's working theory. I definitely think there's something to guys who throw with more touch and less velocity and have higher completion rates, but also higher interception rates because their passes are easier to catch for their guys and others. Thoughts, Kurt Warner asks. And yeah, Brock Purdy does throw a very catchable ball. Today, 3 times it was a very catchable interception. Again, this is going to require some more tape analysis from me, but I just generally think in terms of strategy, in terms of time and place for calculated shots downfield. Purdy has been a great thrower down the field, but I think some of what has made him so efficient, the most efficient quarterback in the NFL since 2022, has been he has picked and chosen the right times to push the ball further downfield. And I think that today's game was so weird because the first drive wasn't that time and the 49ers scored a touchdown, Juwan Jennings. bowled his way in after 15 plays. And drives in the second half, the time and the place wasn't there for aggressively pushing the ball downfield, and the 49ers went on to score more points, including the Christian McCaffrey 17-yard touchdown run. In between those successful drives is when we saw Purdy push the envelope, including one where he had room to run, or he had George Kittle on a shorter pass, but he still tried to air one out to Ricky Pearsall, and it turned into an interception. I don't think that the time and the place to truly uncork the football downfield was there today, given game flow, given the fact that a clear path to victory against this Carolina team was obvious through the short passing game and the take the profit approach. And I think that the 49ers might even be forced into a consistent adoption of that approach next week against the Cleveland Browns team that has one of the most ferocious pass rushes in football. It is a beautiful night here at Levi's Stadium. It will not be as nice next week in Cleveland. Myles Garrett is going to be a whole lot better than anybody that the 49ers faced in this Panthers defense. Hey, sometimes you're lulled to sleep by an opponent that isn't as good. Carolina had, the number 24 defense in football. I spoke to a few guys in the locker room. I think that there was a little bit of a sense of that behind the interceptions. Next week, the 49ers will have to be on their P's and Q's. Purdy's going to have to take the profit when it's there. They're going to have to play downhill against the Browns to make sure that Myles Garrett is not roaring in the fourth quarter. Suck the air out of that pass rush, and you're going to have to do that with the short passing game. And Purdy was really good with the short passing game today, 22 of 24. But don't let yourself be derailed by miscalculated downfield shots. And maybe some of that's on Kyle Shanahan, who defended the decisions from Brock Purdy today. Maybe it was Kyle who was a little too brazen, a little too aggressive with the first interception call. The play action of the 49ers were deep in their own territory here. I look at it as a quarterback-coach partnership, quarterback-play caller. They've got to be on the same page. They have to be attacking efficiently. And I think that today, if it ends up being a good learning opportunity for the 49ers, a good teaching moment for San Francisco. The way that I described it after the game on X, I said this can become one of the best things for Purdy and the 49ers offense if it's applied as a proper growth moment. I think they're going to be straitjacketed into it next week against the Cleveland Browns defense that is really, really damn good. I'm going to take you guys into the 49ers locker room. Some more interviews from there. I know I mentioned this in the instant reaction. We can mention it again right now. Back in 1984, Joe Montana threw a career-high 4 picks. Those 4 picks happened against the Cincinnati Bengals. It was at home, Candlestick. 23-17, 49ers win. That was in November of that 84 year. Very next week, they went and stomped the Cleveland Browns, 41-7 in Cleveland. Take the potential parallel for what it's worth, but quarterbacks throw interceptions. Quarterbacks have funkier games. And then the good quarterbacks are always able to bounce back and post some blistering efficiency shortly thereafter. That's the 49ers need Purdy and the offense to be the locomotive that pulls the train. They ended up winning this game by 11 points. I predicted 34-23. They win 20-9. So the giveaways obviously hurt the offense. But the defensive takeaways, I mean, you saw Jair Brown with those 2 picks and the defense play the way that they did. They outperformed what we expected from the 49ers defense. And Matt Gay kicked his 2 field goals. Complimentary football at its best for the 49ers. You know, one thing that happened in the 49ers locker room today, I walked in and Johnny Holland walked up to me, linebackers coach, and he said, you know, you got to make sure you talk to Curtis Robinson. So I think that I have to make sure I mention Curtis Robinson. This is a player who tore his ACL just 20 minutes after he found out that he was going to be starting for San Francisco for the first time last year, late September last year. How devastating is that? Fights his way back into the lineup and then is called upon today after injuries to Fred Warner and Tatum Bethune to be the Mike linebacker, and he's the Mike linebacker of perhaps the most inspired 49ers defensive effort of the season, especially after losing Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. I mean, that's next man up to an absolute T for San Francisco. That next man up mentality, that defensive performance today, orchestrated by Curtis Robinson with a radio in his helmet, set the 49ers up for the type of success that they saw, winning by 2 possessions despite the fact that it was such a bizarre, weird first half with those Brock Purdy interceptions. Team effort. One unit picks up the other. The locomotive pulling the train had been the offense. Today, the defense had to carry a much bigger part of the load for the 49ers, and that is a huge arrow up for this team. All right, late Monday night, I will talk to you guys very soon. Here's a look into the 49ers locker room.
It's been a particularly long journey to get to this first start for you. So what did it mean to get that start, but also for it to go that well for the defense as a whole?
It meant the world to me. It's been really difficult. I mentioned this to the defense last night. It's been really difficult this whole week for me not to really kind of reflect on, the whole journey and kind of just keep it about the team, keep it about the defense, because it was a huge moment for me. And so to be able to come out the other side with a huge win on Monday night and finally be able to reflect on, like you said, how long it's been and what I had to go through to get here, it's just I'm grateful more than I could ever explain.
To kind of follow up on that, I asked you earlier this week how you felt about your last performance. You said there were a lot of things you wanted to fix and clean up. What did you think about this performance?
I'll probably say the same thing to you. Like, I really got to tackle better. That's my biggest thing. That was the same thing last week, and I'm going to continue to try to do that as long as I'm out there. I just got to be a better tackler for this defense, honestly. If I'm going to be in the middle, I got to be a sure tackler. But, my biggest thing this week going in was making sure that communication was on point and making sure that everybody had trust in me getting them lined up. And I feel like that's where we were at. I felt like we were on it the whole time. And
Shanahan gave you guys credit as early as halftime for keeping you guys in it. Mm-hmm. So how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel great. That's the standard, though. That's how the team works. If the offense isn't firing the way they need to, they can lean on us, and vice versa. We know that we have their trust. If we're not firing the way we need to, we can lean on them. And so today, it felt good to be able to be that for the team.
Mm-hmm. Curtis, how's this group shaped a new identity without Fred in there?
I think really the next man up mentality has been huge this year, and I commend everyone who's had to step into a starting role or even a backup rotating role, because it's not an easy thing to do. When you lose your two biggest leaders on this team, or on this defense, it's not an easy thing to do, to go out week in and week out and really perform. And like I said, we have players at every level who have stepped up, not only on the field but in leadership roles, and really helped us get to the point where we're at.
Jay, you guys had your last home game. It was a tough one against the Rams. How big is it for you guys to bounce back and have home win?
It's huge. I mean, you guys see the momentum in that stadium, and our fans are some of the best in the league, if not the best. And to be able to do that on prime time after the way that we came out last time was huge for us.
You guys feel like already your playoffs are already here, given the way that the standings are in the Washington?
I won't speak too much on that. We got a big game coming up next week, and I think that's where our focus is. But obviously we're looking forward to potentially getting to that point for sure.
Yeah. Jay, you had a career.
Yeah, we opened that can of worms, and now we just flying. We dialed in, reading our indicators, and we playing fast, physical football. So we knew it's something that we're gonna hone in on, and now, we done got us a few more, so we're gonna keep this train rolling. I'm happy for the guys, and it's gonna be some more for the weeks to come.
Is there a rhythm to physical football? You were one of the first ones in there for Jair after that interception. How excited are you for your teammate?
Oh, you have no idea. Me and Tig, that's my brother, and he was one of the first DBs that really took me under his wing. He's really teaching me the game at a whole new level. His IQ is through the roof, and he put that on full display today. His drive, his love for football, this game, I was just so happy for him that he's able to just showcase it to the world and putting everybody on notice.
He's had to adapt to some different roles this season. He played big nickel for a while before going back to safety. What does it say that he was able to be flexible with what's best for the team in that way?
Yeah, because he's not just say he's a football player. So if coach need him to play something, he's gonna do it to the best visibility. And he's a ball player. We gonna feed off his energy, and he's gonna get the job done when he needs to, no matter where he is.
A little special tonight playing a team from Carolina for you?
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's just nice to, showcase that Monday Night Football. Hopefully the people back home able to witness it. So, definitely a little bit of more drive there playing Carolina, but, just another game for real.
You have any texts from buddies throughout the week kind of hyping this one up for you? Talking crap?
Oh, yeah. My dog, JP, man, he talked about Bryce Young going throw it all over us today. So, I'm going to definitely hit him back, see if he tuned in, But, just really thankful we got this dub. We were able to showcase some talent on defense today.
We talk about rush and coverage tying together. Did this feel like, I know you haven't seen the tape yet, but for you from that safety position, did it feel that this was the most cohesive those two had tied together in a while?
For sure. I let the D-line know that, hey, we got y'all on the back end. We got to do that, our job that much more just to, give our guys a chance. And same vice versa, same way it goes when the D line is humming. We got to make sure we do our jobs on the back end. So it's just, well orchestrated football, sound football. You can feel the energy from the first play up until the last. That we conditioned for it, and I feel like the most conditioned team won this game. So I'm just happy for this defense, and we just scratching the surface.
What do you mean?
Out of nowhere. I mean, I think it's probably just like I was saying, just the history of me playing ball. I play hard. I'm physically stronger than a lot of DBs out there. So, a lot of things happen in between the whistle, with me at least.
It looked like you were trying to get the attention of the officials. What were you saying to them, and what were they saying to you?
Just look at the scoreboard, and they were just saying play ball. Sean, can you talk about Jair? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ooh, that's my locker mate right there. You see him? Yeah, Tig, man. Big ups to Tig. Very proud of him, and we want more. We want more for him, man, because that's what it's about, man. A guy making a name for himself.
I asked Kyle about Tig, and he said, I think that was the best game he had as a Niner, and to know that he started the season kind of in somewhat of a cycle, being a starter, not a starter, and then to see him come out like this. What do you think of it, and how big is that for a player?
I think it's just big for any player and their confidence. For Tig to do what he did tonight, it was big for us, and huge part of the reason we won. It's not the main reason. Oh man, it's ups and downs, but just talking about Jair there, just having a defense that just bend but won't break. That was the key to the game tonight.
It's tough, and I'm sure it's got to take a lot out of him. But I mean, he's the guy to do it. He, ultimate professional, does so much to prepare for games, for moments like that. He's a good guy to have the ball in his hands.
Last thing, looking ahead, so you guys are 8-4 now. You got Cleveland in the bye week. Where's this team positioned? How do you feel about the team going forward?
I feel great. I feel really good about where we're positioned. And the way we're kind of looking at it right now is we got a one-game season. It is all about getting ready for Cleveland, taking care of business. And if we can be 9-4 going into our bye week, I think anybody would have taken that, in the beginning of the year, even before people went down. So I think we're happy with that, and then we can build from there.
Cool. Thanks, Juice. Appreciate it.